People of the internet, today we're going to learn why Joe Rogan is the most hated man in America. Let's go.
When you're at the top, you can be fooled into believing that the good times will last forever. But while that's not generally advisable, there are some people who would be forgiven for thinking that way purely due to the levels that they were winning on. Among this elite group is Joe Rogan. From stand-up comedian to UFC commentator, in his final form of overlord of podcasts, the man behind the phenomenon that is the JRE had grown from a young guy in Boston to suddenly becoming one of the most influential people in the culture, bar none.
First of all, I have what you call fuck you money. And if you have fuck you money, you don't say fuck you. What's the point of having the fuck you money? You're wasting it. Like, you're wasting the position. Like, someone said to me, like, why do you like sports cars so much? Like, how many cars do you have? A bunch of cars. So, because if I was a kid and I said, hey, if I was that crazy, rich, famous guy, like, I would want to have a bunch of cool fucking cars. Like, so I would do that, like, because not everybody gets to do that. Like, if you're the person that gets to do that, you're kind of supposed to do it.
But in recent years, the vice-like grip that he's had on his own kingdom has been slipping, and he's found himself no longer being the all-conquering champion of the internet as hate begins to pile up over his poor decision-making. And now he's crashing out and blaming it on everyone but himself.
People need to see this every time it comes across my feed. I'm just going to send it to them. What you see when you see a bot farm. So there's bot farms that have essentially an unlimited number of social media profiles, and they just go after whatever subject it is. And all they're trying to do is get people to hate each other. And this is a bot farm. And this is another.
Well, I think people like hating on each other enough that you don't really need bots. But I think all of the Rogan sphere right now, just watching their actions, they're all in crisis mode, and on all their podcasts they're trying to demonize people that criticize them, to try and make their existing fans buy some belief, why they're getting hated on, and it's not working. And recently you saw Joe Rogan try to be like, don't pay attention to any of it, they're promoting you, all this, and they're trying everything they can to rationalize it to people, but nobody's buying it, and they're all in panic mode because they're seeing. You look at almost every single one of them, and all their views are down. Everything is going down, and they're just trying to hold on. I mean, they're still in a good. Well, at least Joe's still in a good position, right? But he won't be much longer.
The creepy aspect of AI that was exposed fairly recently. Some accounts got suspended because they realized that the CCP was using ChatGPT to run these kind of bot farms. If we don't get our ideas across, if we don't promote our ideas, then the other side wins.
Yeah.
Like, everyone is in this fever of war, of like a culture war. And a giant percentage of it is being manipulated by these overseas bots. Like, I tweeted this thing. People need to see this every time it comes across my feed. I'm just going to send it to them.
Even if he's now secretly regretting some of the ideas and concepts he's endorsed a little while ago that have only sped up the negative press he's now enduring.
We're going to go to Home Depot, and we're going to arrest all the people at Home Depot. We're going to go to construction sites, and we're going to just tackle people at constructions. I don't think anybody would have signed up for that. They said we're going to get rid of the criminals and the gang members first, right? And now we're seeing Home Depots get raided. That's crazy.
It's your boy Luesta, and this is why everyone seems to hate Joe Rogan now. Over the course of his career, Joe Rogan has garnered immense power and influence, so much so that it's the kind of force that even the mainstream media would envy. For example, CNN's primetime viewership is around 400,000 to 582,000 viewers, while an average episode of the Joe Rogan Experience can receive 11 million downloads on Spotify alone. Given these figures, it's no surprise that Rogan once scored a $100 million deal with Spotify, with some even estimating that the sum he received was closer to 200. And when the exclusivity clause ran its course, he was offered another one from a streaming platform who was eager to align himself with this giant of the podcast space.
Well, see, with Rumble, though, they're getting bigger people over there now. And as they get bigger and bigger people, they made a big play for me when all that shit was going down with me. Yeah, they offered me $100 million.
And they went for
to go over to Rumble. But Spotify never did anything. They stayed with me the entire time.
Without doing anything other than talking to people he found interesting, Joe had become the host of one of the most relevant and vital outlets of the 21st century. And over time, he knew exactly how valuable it was.
I really never understood Joe Rogan's like obsession with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is just a sleazy con man. He stole all of his ideas and businesses from other people. You know, and maybe he has some, I mean, obviously his company Tesla is propped up by government subsidies. You know, so how, I tell you, con men run the world. Honest people with integrity are not in power and will never be in power. Elon Musk to me was just like some pseudo genius guy who just like came across, when really he stole all the companies from other people, all the ideas, and then made them profitable. You know, you could give him credit. Well, are they profitable? I mean, he makes a lot of money, but without them government subsidies, where would Tesla be? I mean, it's the same for farming too. Mass production farming. It's just crazy how all these con men get the government to pay for their businesses, and a lot of them failing businesses. I just, how is this world run, you know?
If I win, I do the programming on your show for a week.
No. That's worth a lot of money. You can f- off. You can f- off. We're booked up months and months in advance.
You were so confident until just now.
No.
Pick a month, few months off.
That's ridiculous to flip a coin on that. There's no chance.
I mean, what would be?
Because then you'd make me have conversation. Listen, the whole reason why this show works is because I talk to people that I want to talk to.
Nothing that I can do.
There's nothing that you could give me that would be worth a week of programming on the show. What are you going to give me? You'd
What
have
about
to
a day of programming?
You'd have to give me
What-
a spectacular amount of money.
I sent you a.
It would
We can't make this about money.
I would,
Can't
but that's the only way I would be, like, the only way, like, if you ever put a monetary equivalent to that, it would have to be a spectacular amount of money for me to let someone else program the show. I've never let anybody do that before.
Not even for one day.
No, that was one of the big things about doing this show on Spotify.
That said, it's
You know, it's crazy, the choices that this Louise guy chose to put in here. It's really just like glimpses into Rogan's true desire and natures, which is money and power. I mean, a week of the programming, I get it, but you just said you had FU money, you know, so what's a week of the programming? And how much more money do you need? I think at that point, didn't he get the Spotify deal? Like, you couldn't just do it for fun? And I understand if you don't want somebody to do your show, but the way he's acting, it just shows, like, in a spectacular amount of money for 1 week of programming. Who cares?
fair to say that the show was never beloved by everyone. Over the years, it always had its obvious quirks and cliches that were easy to make fun of.
In the eyes of the law, is worth more.
How strange is it that we put like a monetary value on actual life itself? Wow, it's just such a strange concept.
Yeah.
Did you see that guy accidentally hit that moose with his car?
No.
Holy shit, Jamie, pull that video up.
Oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god.
But even then, a lot of the clowning it received was ultimately in good fun, and even done by fans of the podcast. However, that all changed when the podcast veered from a platform for a guy who loves eating elk meat and working out with kettlebells or kickboxing to talk to cool people, to a politically motivated, partisan show, where they seemed intent on changing the world as we know it. And since that perception took root, the scales have tipped severely to the point that even people who'd previously engaged with his content can no longer stomach him. Crazy what happened to him. He used to be fun to listen to. Now, he's just a boring hack. And now, you have people legitimately thinking that his podcast is one of the most dangerous and toxic things out there today. When it comes to how Joe Rogan went from tolerated to hated, the transformation could be broken down into 4 stages, with each of them contributing to where we are now. The first pillar came when Joe Rogan was deemed to have played a key role in the rise of the so-called intellectual dark web, which featured prominent minds such as Jordan Peterson, Eric Weinstein, Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin, and more thinkers who'd
When you look at it like that, you're just like, what the hell? Especially Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro has to be the biggest con man and fucking loser I've ever seen in my life. That guy is such a fucking loser. I don't even want to start. And then Eric Weinstein, They're all, look at all these guys. They're all just giant losers. They may know something about something, but like they're the worst human beings. Like Eric Weinstein is just such a rude, obnoxious, just terrible person. Why did he ever get involved with these people? You know? And I get like him inviting someone on interesting and interviewing them and seeing their ideas or whatever, but he made these people like authorities on shit in our world. And they are just like the biggest losers. I can't stand it.
All made an appearance on his show from time to time before building their own platform. Initially, Joe was pretty shocked by the association.
Having a bunch of people that have different ideologies but yet share this common theme of wanting to have real honest communication and honest conversations and try to figure out, instead of looking at things from an ideological perspective, look at things from an honest, objective point and try to see the way the other people view things.
Open-hearted, not trying to destroy each other.
Yes.
He even tried to downplay it. While
See, the problem is he says that, and then he invites on the most extreme people from, you know, academia or politics or, you know, whatever field. He always brings out the most extreme kooky people that industry has debunked or pushed out. And then, you know, it's like, I thought you wanted to have open. And I get it that academia and certain sciences and stuff are stuck in their theories and ways and disprove. But he just brings on cuckoo people, just absolute batshit crazy cuckoo people, instead of like somebody that's actually an authority on the subject. And I feel like that's all he does now is just bring on nut jobs.
at the same time, actively participating in the whole thing.
We had a big dinner together, like a bunch of dorks, and we all got together and we're like this little club. And it's kind of fun, and we're going to do it again. And we're bringing more people in, too. We're bringing more people into the dork web.
Good.
And some people are resentful.
But while he conceded that he did like these people and found them interesting, he ultimately denied being a conservative, given his stance on various issues.
The renegade conservative.
Oh, right. That's what it was.
Pro-gay rights, pro-women's rights, pro-choice, pro-marijuana, pro-universal health care, pro-universal basic income. Like, what else do I have to do? Like, what other things am I? Oh, pro-Second Amendment. He must be right. When
Yeah. Well, Joe, you're off the
I've
range. You
got
can't
a
just
gun.
have. What do you think?
Yeah, but you promote all the other ideals while claiming those. That's the hypocrisy of it, because you say you're those things, but if you look at your show, all you do is invite on people that promote none of those things and promote corporate power, less rights for people, cutting out jobs, making things more profitable for all the worst people that run our world. Those are the people you bring on. You don't bring on people that promote human rights or equality or anything like that. And, I tend to believe in those things more because, I mean, we see what inequality gets us, and it's shit. Shit from the ruling class. I think everything, every problem, every kind of division that has been created among people is all about the ruling class. If you look all throughout history, since we started, settling land in Mesopotamia and farming and trading and claiming property, right? It's always been rich versus poor. It has always been, and it is to this day. All the issues, racism, all of that, created by the ruling class to hold power. And Joe Rogan just seems to want to promote the ruling class and not anything for people. And I'm sorry, people are tired of that shit. We no longer idolize or believe in the ruling class anymore. They're fucking monsters. They waste human life like it doesn't even matter. If there's a conflict, if there's something, they just send people in I can't say words on YouTube, to not live. I'm tired of it. I don't know about you guys, but it destroys a piece of your hope, if not all of it, when you finally wake up and realize that nothing's really going to change. And the only way it will is if people join together and take them down. That's it. That's the only solution. I don't think any kind of promoting this ideal, that ideal, it won't. Until you get rid of the hornet's nest, there will always be hornets.
You can have a series of thoughts that don't all lock in. What are
Well,
you
you
stupid?
have to be in
Come
a
on, man.
pattern. You have to be in the pattern.
However, people such as Dave Rubin believed he was churning the tide of the internet.
Positions on things would lead someone to realize I'm definitely not a right-wing person.
The thing is that they have owned the narrative for so long
That they think they can still get away with it.
Yes.
Yes.
And what's happening is now it's shifting.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by I think we're starting to win. And I don't mean it win like we're going to destroy these people. I mean, I think the narrative has started to shift a little bit where the enthusiasm behind the conversations that we're all having, whoever it is in this thing, the enthusiasm is so great and there is no counter enthusiasm. Like, where are all the versions of us on the other side of this?
On the right.
See, I told you the other day that it always comes down to being right. And notice when he talks about his side or whatever he believes in, I don't know who this guy is. I don't pay attention to that. But whatever side he's on, when he talks about the narrative shifting, the first thing he says is, I think we're going to win. He doesn't say, I think people are going to come over and learn that if you do this thing or enact this law or enact this, it'll be better for people. He doesn't say people are going to get better rights, there's going to be a better government, or there's going to be a better, business leadership for people. He doesn't talk about bettering people. He talks about winning. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of this for people, because you have to look at people's egos. And when they believe in something, you're going directly for their ego, because if they're wrong, that means they were stupid, they weren't smart enough to see this, that, or they picked the wrong thing, they didn't have the right evidence, or clearly they just went in and believed something. And so you're basically telling them they're dumb when they're wrong. Because a lot of people don't understand that you can be wrong, right? And so people think that you're telling them they're dumb when they're wrong, when instead you just got new information that you didn't have, and now you see something differently. So basically, the ego drives people to win. Or instead of seeing that, a better business manager or better leadership for our country means better things for people, they see it as a game. And that is a massive problem.
No, I don't even mean on the right. Like the people that really are selling identity politics at a really great way at a comedy level, who have a huge podcast, and like where is that intellectual set of people? Where's the Sam Harris of the other side of this, or that have real followings? They don't exist, and that's partly why the hysteria has been ramped up. They can't believe that out of nowhere, just because of all of our just wherewithal and desire to do what we think is right or what makes us happy or whatever the hell you want to call it, they can't believe we all freaking created something.
Well,
and they hate
I'm weirded
creation
out
too.
that we're all in a group. I'm weirded out that we're in a super
I've
boy
never
band.
been in a group.
Yet, the main problem wasn't necessarily having these people on. Instead, what caused the major crisis for JRE listeners is that being told that he played a role in an intellectual movement altered the way that Joe conducted himself on the pod. Because where Joe used to openly concede that he
Dude, that guy, I don't know if he's come out with a video, but I like watching his shoes and his art. I think the last thing I watched of his, I haven't checked on his page in a while, is when he went to Europe and he did like that boat or he did something on the boat. Or maybe it was a rudder. He made this sweet painting, or where he goes into people's houses, knocks on their door and asks if he can make some art for him. I saw him give Joe Rogan the shoes, and if you watch the episode, Joe is just so unenthusiastic. And look at his shoes he got on right there. Those are some busted ass crusted shoes. Those are busted ass crusty. Those are shoes you should never put on your feet. I'm particular about shoes. I don't really like material things, but I like shoes, pens, and sunglasses. And glasses in general, right? And Joe got on some busted shoes. And I think these shoes, if he gave me a pair of these shoes, I wouldn't wear them. Just because they're so freaking cool and they're like pieces of art. I would like, I've been planning to get some glass cases for a lot of, like your collectible things. And I would put it in, put the shoes on the shoebox on like a nice pillow, tilt it back a little bit, make the lid on top tilted, or maybe, maybe on the side, and then have a little light going down on them. But anyways, Joe just looked like such a dick. And I never understood why this guy, and I don't know if he has any controversy, I just watch his episodes. He is generally a good person that spreads goodwill, makes people happy. Like whoever he does art for, like he flew this dad and his kid out to go see a Premier League game for their favorite team. He like gives people money. He like redoes people's homes, all kinds of cool shit. And he's super generous and super nice from what I see. I know people are like, but did you know that shoemaking guy? I have to say these things because people do that. I'm not aware of everything happening on the internet. But I never understood why he got involved with Joe. Because Joe just doesn't, he looks like he doesn't care when he gets those shoes.
He was pretty uninformed in the past. Being told over and over again that he was a higher mind has meant that Joe Rogan has begun to believe it. As a consequence, his interview skills have diminished, with episodes such as his show with former Navy SEAL Sean Ryan, where he basically just talked to himself, standing out as a major example.
I might have watched it on X. I probably thought, I'm saying X now.
Yeah, good for
I
you.
feel politically correct. Like when I call a transgender person a girl, she. Like, you like that? How I did that? I said she.
We're just talking to him directly.
No, that's not it. The monkeypox one, god damn it, I know I saved it. If you want, I can find it. I saved it on my phone because I was like, this is just so bonkers. This is gonna be a problem. I'm not gonna find it. Just see if you can find it. It's gotta be out there.
Rogan ignores most people he brings on, missed jokes, and regurgitates his same old dull talking points. Remember when Rogan would let his guests talk? With Joe now believing the hype, critics have believed that the podcast, which used to be a space for free thinking and open dialogues, is a shadow of its former self. But ultimately, this is only one piece of the pie when it comes to the public scouring on this once untouchable king. Because alongside the way that he's mistreating the guests that he once seemed so invested in, the prominence of the podcast as a major media outlet has meant that some people who Joe would previously have been suspicious of have now made it onto the show. Meanwhile, others, who could have made for a more compelling listening experience, are being pushed aside due to the fact that they don't align with Rogan. These days, he has been routinely trolled by Gavin Newsom, with Joe refusing to have him on the pod to talk it out.
I just told you, I'm not afraid to go. I'm punching Joe Rogan. Okay, that's not used to that, and he's going to dismiss it. He's going to laugh it off. I mean, tough guy, all that, but he's going to have me on. I don't know.
You would have done it.
I don't know why he don't have those people on. I tell you, if you were that big and you could confront shit talkers, I mean, but then they could come at you. I just think, yeah, I kind of get it too, man. That's just dangerous. Honestly, if I was Joe's PR guy, I'd turn it down too, because Joe can't, and this is business, for business reasons, right? I don't think if Joe was really confronted and called out on the shit that he doesn't like seeing, what this whole thing is about, why people don't like him, amongst just like facts and stuff, it would be bad for Joe Rogan. I don't think he could do it. I don't think he could hang when he's called out on that stuff. And I would just turn it down because Joe can't afford any more losses. And I don't really know much about Gavin Newsom, but I know a lot about Joe Rogan. And he tends to keep dumb people around. And I think that's why he has all these kooky people around, because he couldn't hang with somebody that could make an argument. And if Gavin Newsom, there's so much material, Gavin Newsom could make a good argument against Joe, or just kind of put Joe in a corner and just make him spaz out. that I think Gavin Newsom would hang him out to dry. That's what I think. Anyways, but that's probably why I don't have him on. I don't think Joe could handle it. I think he's fine in his echo chamber, but he can't. There's no oxygen for Joe Rogan outside of it.
Have you had Gavin Newsom on your phone?
No, he's been taunting me, trying to get me to have him on. Why?
I don't know, because he's interesting. You think he's
interesting? He's interesting as like a sociology experiment. Like if you're a psychologist.
I mean, you talk to everyone, I think.
His ex-campaign has been trying to goad Rogan into a debate. Joe Rogan is a snack-sized podcaster who can't stop talking about me, but is too scared to have me on and let his audience hear the truth. Just like Donald Trump, he often chickens out. And in the view of his fan base, the fact that he wouldn't have him is not reflecting well on how he's changed. Because as little as a few years back, he would argue with anyone that had a differing opinion to him.
You don't have the right to tell my 14-year-old daughter she has to carry this baby. You understand that?
To look that woman in the eye who was the
but
born of a...
Understand that? That's a 14-year-old child.
I know.
If a 14-year-old child you say that they have to carry that baby?
I don't think two wrongs make a right. I don't think
that's
murder.
I don't think
murder
that's
is an answer to. I don't think murder fixes.
What if we're talking about an abortion when the fetus, like literally, it's like 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 days? What if she just turned positive just now, positive for pregnancy?
I just disagree that.
What if it just happened today?
You can
See, I don't know why men make arguments for women. I think when it comes to men and when it comes to women, they should, in their like health and their body and those kind of issues, they should separate and vote what's best for them. What's best for men, men voting on what's best for men, women voting, and then come together, put those things in place. I just get tired. I just get tired in general of people telling people what to do with like these really big life issues that pertain to their body or sanity or whatever, their life basically. That's my hate for the government. But yeah, I just don't understand. I just don't get why the most loser ass men are telling women what to do with their body. I don't get that. Why do they even have a fucking opinion? I don't think about what a woman should do to her body. I let her think about it, right? You know what I mean? I let them think about it. I just, why is this even an issue? It just seems common sense. If we stop interfering in people's personal issues, I think the world would be better. Let's make a focus on issues that affect everybody. Let's vote on that stuff. But like this personal issue shit, who cares? And you're making these fucking rules and you don't even know these women. You will never be in their position. You'll never physically see it with your own eyes what they have to go through in life. So why are you so fucking nosy and involved in this shit? That's my opinion. I think we shouldn't tell women what to do, and women shouldn't tell men what to do with their bodies. They being that gender should decide for themselves. Because I'm not a woman and she's not a man. I don't know. It just makes sense to me.
Draw a line on when
you can't.
Like once life
so you
has
can't
begun,
do,
I don't
at
think
the
you draw
very
lines.
moment.
I would lay it out like this. I would say it is wrong to intentionally kill innocent human life. Abortion intentionally kills innocent human life. Therefore, abortion is wrong.
And ultimately, this shift has been to the detriment of the show. Old Joe would have had Mom Donnie, Newsom, AOC, and Snoop Dogg in the same week. Now, it's just a bunch of rich buddies and a select group of comedy assassins. Since then, some of the guests he has platformed have become the very people that he once rallied against. It didn't happen overnight either. He was even warned by longtime friend Duncan Trussell about how the podcast that he built could be used by bad actors.
Problem is, like, where you're kind of in a bit of a bind is that all this human attention has been placed upon you, and you have to wrestle with your identity because people have decided you're one of the magnifying glasses focusing this beam of attention into the world. And so within that is all this room for disaster. It's like, who are those people? And what are they up to? And then you start thinking, see, this is what I think about if I were you. Then you start thinking like, man, I've got this podcast that lots of people listen to. Has it ever happened where maybe some really intelligent person has manipulated me in an attempt to get me to disseminate some kind of information out into the world?
Good luck manipulating me, Duncan Trussell. I'm an American.
You have
It's funny because Duncan Trussell ignored his own advice and joined in. I mean, here's the thing. If you get big enough, people in power, people in the influence are going to come after you. It's absolutely true. Outside of money, I don't even really see what's the point. Like at the end of the day, in my view, I want to do something that I enjoy doing and leave whatever impact in whatever I choose to do. I want it to come from me. I don't want to have no influence. I don't want anyone telling me what to do. I'm just going to do my thing. It could be successful. It could not be successful. But at least it was me. I gave it a shot. And I know that someone didn't tell me what to do. And why would you want to give that up for some money? Life's pretty good, man. If you could make enough money to survive, I think, like, what else you need? All this material stuff? It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. I'll tell you cool things I do. There's something in my backyard that I've been working on. I think like maybe 2 years now. And I place every piece of it by hand. And I've been thinking, because my backyard is just forest. And I've been making these things in between the trees. I was thinking about showing you, but I was thinking about, man, when I get out of here, I always think about what are the people that will buy this house? What will they think when this? I hope they go, dang, that's cool. And they spend time out there. I think like that stuff matters to me. The money stuff, I've had fast cars, I've had big houses. I've lived in beautiful places. I've traveled the world. I've seen, and stuff. You just look. If you want to know what stuff does, why do people look at storage units? That's where your stuff goes. I drove by this house the other day, and this dude garage, he had a big house, probably like 4 or 5 bedrooms, 2 stories, right? And he had like not a double, but like a 2.5, like not a 3, but almost. And except for a tiny little slot where his car could go in, the whole thing was just like big Tupperware containers all the way to the ceiling. Why do you have that? I have a big 2-story house, right? Pretty darn big, 5 bedrooms. And it's just me and my girlfriend and my dog. We ain't got shit in here. We've got a library and 2 game rooms, but it's just like the essentials and the Hellraiser poster, you know what I mean? Yeah, and we have another room over there that basically just has the cat's litter box in it. It's the cat's room, right? And it's about living in the forest, not about the house. But I mean, stuff just don't make you happy. I don't know why people chase it. I remember, man, I think it was like 2015. I had an old Victorian house in downtown, like one of the downtown, as the downtown built up. So it was like a historic district. You had to call in to make changes type shit, get them approved by the city. And yeah, it was 3 floors and a basement. And my basement was, man, full of stuff. Full of stuff since I moved out of my mom's house when I was a teenager, right? Or at the end of high school. Yeah, I was a teenager. And I kind of just collected stuff over the boxes. I had the whole basement, just boxes of my shit. And when I moved to another state and got rid of the house, right? I just got rid of all that stuff in the basement. And ever since then, when I moved to another state, all I had was what I could fit in my car and one of those roof racks. And I've kind of lived like that since, because I just realized, like, I store all this stuff that I never touch. And I'm not talking about memories, photo book stuff, but I just think we just waste so much money. Anyways, Little rant. Just want to tell you about it.
Such a crazy power that if you're not careful, folks from deep, dark wells of perspective are going to infiltrate you.
Now, there's a perception that he's wound up in the pocket of elites, linking up with people like Peter Thiel, who is the co-founder of the CIA-backed Palantir that some people genuinely believe to be evil. This billionaire had been critiqued by people like Tim Dillon on the podcast, with Joe seemingly nodding along. But Joe platformed him all the same, acting incredibly friendly with a man who was allowed to peddle whatever he wanted without any pushback.
You know, if you're working for Israel, you don't get protected. And we had Jonathan Pollard. He went to jail for 25 years or whatever.
But unrelated, right?
Understood. But
this is one particular operation.
It was if it was an intelligence operation, the question we should be asking is what part of the U.S. intelligence system was he working for? Was he working for, you know?
But don't you think that's an effective?
Dude, that company is one that you should be scared of, because Palantir basically runs all the logistics, the paperwork, the execution, the planning. Like, they've built software systems for almost everything. And like all the government runs on it, big corporations run on it, everything. One day, Palantir is going to have secret. They have so many secrets. They know so much, right? That one day I wouldn't be surprised if Palantir goes, we are now taking over. I mean, they probably have the codes for things. They probably have the access keys, the cloud backups, like of all of our most sensitive information and secrets in America. They are scary. Yeah, watch out. I think one day Palantir is going to come and, you know, we're going to be ruled by Peter Thiel. Like, well, I won't. If shit goes that way, we're just starting the revolution right then. If that's just the case, if they can do that, I'm going to be like, yo, hit the homies up. Whoop, whoop. We're going in.
Strategy for controlling politicians, getting them involved in sex scandals. I mean, that's always been one of the worst things that can happen to a politician. Look at Monica Lewinsky. A very simple one. Consensual, inappropriate sexual relationship between a president and a staffer, and it almost takes down the presidency. It causes him to get impeached.
And upon watching the episode, many of Joe's listeners who once treasured his judgment felt it insulted their intelligence. I have watched every minute of the past 1,822 episodes of JRE. This is the first time I'm actually insulted after watching an episode. Bro, you just lost all credibility. But among all the guests he's had on as of late, there is perhaps none that he regrets having on more than the current president, as these days he seems to believe he was duped by Donald.
I always got more publicity than other people, and it wasn't like I was trying. In fact, I don't know exactly why. Maybe you can tell me why.
Oh, I could definitely tell you. You said a lot of wild shit.
Maybe.
Maybe they said a lot of wild shit, and then CNN in their all their.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you heard Trump say all this stuff, and I think he pitched it in a way that he was trying to get people to believe like he was going to make everything better. But I'm absolutely baffled what's going on in our country. I did not think like drastic, extreme changes. I didn't think the country was going to be this wildly divided. I mean, even his first term, it wasn't like this. This one, I think Donald Trump is such a corrupt man. He is just going and saying, fuck you. I'm going to do what I want. I don't care whatever price it costs you. I'm going to put tons of money into my bank account, make my family one of these oligarch, like ruling class, make decisions for countries type families. And I don't give a shit. I'm almost dead. And nothing has consequences for me. So I'm going to do whatever I want. And I honestly didn't see that coming. You saw little signs where things were going to get more of this, more of that. But as soon as he ramped it up crazy. He ramped it up crazy. If you haven't seen, you know, you could have feelings about this. I haven't really thought about it, but I saw this morning that he just shut down. Bro, I don't even know. I don't know whether to laugh. All I could do at this point is laugh. Everything's so crazy. He shut down the Department of Education. I mean, he's just going through. I don't know what to say. You guys can have your opinions, but I didn't think it was going to be as much chaos as it is. And still, he's doing this. I wonder if he's doing all these things because the Epstein files, and he's ducking and dodging the Epstein files. I don't even know what's going on. Here's the thing. I imagined it would be crazy, but I think the fights and all the stuff going on in our country is absolutely batshit insane at this point. I think it's absolutely batshit insane. The divisions the fighting amongst people, the creates of these groups where people join and they want to destroy the other. I think everything's gone batshit crazy.
Brilliance by highlighting your wild shit.
Prior to the last election, Joe made major waves by endorsing Trump. He did so after both the president and vice sat across from Joe on the JRE, while Kamala Harris declined, with Joe revealing exactly what informed his decision during a lengthy conversation with Elon Musk.
I mean, the sheer number of hoaxes that the Democratic Party is pushing over and over again. And it's like, look, I understand like politicians are gonna, exaggerate, they're gonna misspeak, and they'll tell occasional, untruths, whatever. That's.
It's crazy how Elon Musk is so concerned, and it usually is con men that usually are the biggest people on these hoaxes and disproving people and being right, is because if they can do that, it can distract from their con. Because if you look at Elon Musk, his whole career is a con, starting out with how he stole PayPal. You know what I mean? Right? A guy that he claims to be this fucking genius, right? And obviously he's not. He's just like, Elon Musk is what I imagine if a 4chan man became the richest man in the world. Well, it just depends on the level of troll, but basically I just think Elon Musk is a lucky troll. He's a lucky troll. They're gonna pay him he's gonna become a trillionaire for creating a company that survives and exists on subsidies. Like Tesla has gone down during this time. And I don't know, man. Can we get someone honest? Can we get someone honest up in here? Just for a little bit. I mean, I'm willing to compromise. But for a little bit, can we get someone honest up in here? Because this shit is just it's just stupid at this point. It's stupid why these men end up to be the richest, most powerful men in the world. It's like, it's always dumb people, When you was in high school, you was thinking all them smart people, and you were thinking, oh, I'm getting good grades. I'm going to turn out to be something, crazy. I'm going to be like the president, and I'm going to help people. And then you realize the guy that wouldn't do his homework and cheats all the time becomes the most successful one. Because you have to cheat to get to the top. And a lot of people with integrity or that thing where they just can't say something when something's fucked up, those people never make it.
That's how it is in politics. But when you have deliberate, concerted, repeated pushing of hoaxes, you're like, wait a second, like, come on, man, this is too far.
And you're supposed to be the good guys.
And you claim to be the good guys? I'm like, exactly.
You're supposed to be the progressives.
Yes, the Dems are like, oh, we're the good guys. We're the honest people. No, hang on. You can't claim to be the good guys. You can't claim to be the honest people. If you're deliberately pushing hoaxes that have been debunked thoroughly.
Immediately, he was critiqued for doing so, as it didn't seem like a fitting position for a comedian and UFC commentator to be trying to inform the nation on how to vote.
I guess to me, what surprised me about a lot of, about Joe, like about, whoever endorsed Joe in particular, because I do think we align on a lot. Like, that's the thing about it. I don't think he's like this far right guy. I mean, he was a Bernie guy. I think and I think it's not even that I was like disappointed in him. It was just like shocking because he is kind of an avatar for a regular dude. And to me, it was more like, whoa, what the how did this happen? How did the sort of like Democrats allow this kind of thing? Because listen, I would have understood, and this was my perspective on the election. I get being like, I hate both these candidates, right? That was my position. That was like, and I got not liking Kamala Harris, but I did not in any way, shape, or form understand being a free speech guy and then being like, Trump's my guy.
At this stage, even longtime friends like Bill Burr hinted that what he and fellow JRE Sphere comics like Andrew Schultz and Teal Vaughn had done might have set a dangerous world in motion.
There's an ugliness that's out there right now where, there's certain podcasts out there that if you're a racist, if you're an anti-Semite, if you're a psycho-nationalist and you want a softball interview, there's podcasts out there where you can, and they will laugh at your bad jokes and just give you this pass. Things we've already seen this, and we've seen what it does to a nation, and it's not the way to go.
Still, Joe's renown and influence was so big that aligning himself with the Red Team was deemed relevant enough to make mainstream news.
Joe Rogan endorsing Donald Trump. This just after Elon Musk made the case for 45 during his 2.5-hour sit-down interview on Rogan's podcast today. So 2 major endorsements, Megyn Kelly and Joe Rogan at Monday night.
But now it looks like he's regretting that, mainly over the very hardline anti-immigration policy that he actually voted for.
Chameleon, he's a shapeshifter, right? So here we go. This is what he just had Duncan Trussell on again, and listen to the rant he goes on about immigration. This is something, watch.
Let's just talk about the immigration thing. The way it looks is horrific. When you're just arresting people in front of their kids and just normal, regular people that have been here for 20 years, that everybody who has a heart can't get along with that.
No.
Everybody who has a heart sees that and goes, that can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be the only way to do this.
Right.
Because you have to think, look, yeah, we have to have a border. Yes, it should have been secure. Yes, they should make sure you know who everybody is before they get in.
Yeah.
But when people have been here for 20 years, like, come on, man. That's crazy. Like, let's find a way. If they've been productive members of society for 20 years, no criminal record, they worked the entire time, they paid taxes, find them a pathway to citizenship. Find a way where you can do this thing that you want to do, which is keep terrorists and cartel members from getting across the border with drugs that kill 100,000 people a year. Okay, but also have a fucking heart. Because if you don't, you're not going to get anybody on your side.
And now he's reverting back to what he believed long ago, before he aligned himself with the right.
Talking about this immigrant issue, and they either don't have kids or they don't think it could happen to their kids. Their idea is, hey, shouldn't have come over here. You get those kind of people. Broke the law. Shouldn't have come over here if you could. You didn't want to get your kids separated. If you were in the presence of a woman who came over here from Guatemala and she's poor and she's starving and they're taking her baby away and she's wailing and screaming from a primal place in her DNA that the one thing she loves more than anything is being taken away. A baby. Yeah. If that doesn't freak you the out, you're not a part of the team, man.
Whatever's the case, it's clear that any brief moment of relevancy he had as a force in democracy has gone as quick as it came. Joe Rogan is to politics what Joe Rogan is to comedy. Speaking of which, it's important to acknowledge that while the podcast has played a major role in Rogan's decline, what he's done to his first love has done just as much damage to his credibility. Because while he thinks he's its great and proud defender, there are a lot of people who believe that Joe Rogan is actually responsible for ruining stand-up comedy as we know it. Over the years, Joe has been a staple of the stand-up comedy world. First in LA, before then moving to Austin, Texas, and establishing a scene on his own, as many other comedians flocked to the area with him. But for all that he's played some major shows, it has long been believed by many fans of the art form that Joe Rogan is nowhere near as funny as he thinks he is.
When you see someone moving around like that on stage, I will bet you every penny I have they're not funny. Anytime I saw someone pumping air, I would just go, not funny.
No.
It was just like, it was a sign of like...
But what if there's a bit where you have to mime pumping air? There's got to be a bit.
Pumping air?
Yeah.
You mean like
there's got to be
screwing pumping?
Some bits.
What? But who doesn't know what that looks like? Why do you need to pump? And most of the move around people are pushing it. Just oversell shit by...
I see what...
I get what this guy is saying, right? And maybe back then it was true. But I would have to disagree based on what he said, right? Now knowing Rogan's fan base is the Lost Lonely Men's Club, he does need to pump the air because the guy says, who doesn't know what that looks like? And Rogan's fan base now doesn't know what that looks like. They don't see women. They don't know what it is to do a little boop, 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 boop. You know what I mean? They don't know about that. So I adamantly disagree with the guy. Rogan... If Rogan If Rogan can't be funny, at least let these guys know what it looks like, okay? End of the day, Rogan is doing a service for him, okay? Okay? Because we ain't going to his comedy show. All those lonely guys banding together, singing fucking Kumbaya as Joe Rogan leaves the stage, and they're all crying and be like, I feel like a real man, Tommy. I know what it's like to pump air.
Rogan has had many talents, although stand-up comedy isn't one of them. And while they all seem to respect his position as a true tastemaker in the industry who can make your career with an endorsement, he has even been roasted by some of his friends over his lack of skills, and the hurt in his eyes was apparent.
But if you look at the building's blown outward.
Whoa.
Like, it's blown out. Now, I'm obviously not a fucking bomb expert, but I talked to one.
You should see erect.
He
can't stop himself.
All right. Keep going. I need some levity.
If you look at, it did need levity. If you look at the images of the building, if you look at the images of,
I'm not a bomb.
But these days, Joe doesn't have to worry about bombing because he's always playing to a home team crowd. This is because where he used to have to play other spots to hone his material, Rogan has taken some of that podcast money and set up his own club in Austin called the Comedy Mothership. Billed on its website as fulfilling a dream and vision Joe Rogan had of providing a comedy community here in Austin that would draw comics from all around the world, the venue has had no shortage of hugely talented performers come through its doors and has quickly become one of the top spots in America. However, not all is as it seems, because by all accounts, there is a darkness to what is happening at the Comedy Mothership, which no one wants to speak up about.
Like the Comedy Mothership is so tight knit, right? And it's I also heard it's not a fun hang if you're an Austin comic.
What the Mothership?
I've heard the Mothership. You have to get past Navy SEALs to get into the green room.
Right. I love Rogan. I love the club. I think it's perfect, and I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea, and every time I go there, I feel joy in my heart.
Since its inception, the Comedy Mothership prides itself on being the home of a new form post-cancel culture comedy. But
did that Brian Callen special get tore up or what? There was like, man, it was so bad. It was so bad. Him and Louis J. Gomez, you know, they just put out their gringo poppies. They got their gringo poppies out this year. I mean, you know, they always get sensitive and say all this stuff, but the proof is in the pudding. And them being good comedians, there's zero proof for them. Them being bad comedians, just go look up a Rogan Sphere special and you'll be converted instantly. And if you're not, you probably got something wrong up here.
Even for some of those involved in the scene, the material is getting predictable to the point of getting dull and the exact opposite of risky.
Pendulum's fully swung.
Maybe too far. Head down to the mothership, you go, oop.
Yeah.
Pendulum's maybe swung a little too far. Not everyone has to say it.
True.
According to its critics, the focus on topics like trans women or saying taboo words has had a knock-on effect on his entire circle, where they've become a punchline among other comedians who have distanced themselves from it and its constant retreating of the same apparent free speech talking points.
There's something about the place that I'm just not...
The place you mean Austin?
Yeah, the Mothership Austin, that's all one.
You just mean... So you're talking about just this whole concept of Austin comedy?
Yeah, Austin comedy.
I didn't like the vibe at the Mothership. I got in trouble for being in the green room, apparently.
Oh, you did?
I got... A security guard took me into the green room.
Took you right out.
And I was like, hello. And then apparently after I wasn't invited in, so apparently Joe was mad at me. It's the other comedians.
Mm-hmm. You don't like it?
It's very F-word... It's that women are stupid, women are unfunny.
Well, that's what if you come on, man, that's just hanging around the cellar. That's just table stuff, you know.
True.
That's just being at the table.
It's nice. That's a nice Templar. That's where that kind of talk belongs, dude. You can't
give it out to the civilians for free, dude.
No, bro. You can't diffuse the legendary hang.
There's so many fucking assassins down here.
And then I get down the hall and there's someone on stage going, well, I guess I got to do my bit about trans people. Like, no, you don't. You don't.
And as the scene continues to descend into one big hive mind,
nothing really encapsulates like the Rogan sphere like that guy the other day. Like, basically he didn't know it, but he admitted he was trying to say Austin comedy isn't like that. And then he said, I don't want to say these things on stage. I want to say them off stage. You know, like, oh, so there's some of you out there that are just blatantly racist in Austin, and then there's some of you that pretend you aren't but are still racist. So we got it exactly right about Austin comedy. I mean, I just don't understand it. The other thing about the Austin comedy scene is they're all really stupid because they make claims and then do the thing they're claiming they're not doing, and then they upload it on the internet, and then they make another upload on the internet claiming they didn't do it. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. I think Austin is the gathering place, the hub for idiots. Just simple. Austin, you know what Austin reminds me of? I lived in Portland, and Austin is like another Portland. Now, don't get me wrong. Portland's beautiful. There's an incredibly amount of stuff to do. The ocean's like an hour and a half away if you go the speed limit. You know, and it's a beautiful city. But the people in Portland are so pretentious. And there's just like, Portland has this huge music scene, and you don't see anybody coming out of Portland. There was the hip hop guy. I can't remember his name, but he always has yellow, and he did that. I think the song was Caroline. And it got really popular, and he blew up. But nothing really great music-wise. Yeah, the most pretentious musicians in the world, yet like nothing really great is coming out of Portland. I'm just saying. And don't get me started on all the other things about Portland. But I think Portland's a beautiful city. It's just the people that kind of ruin it for me. And that's not everyone in Portland, but the overall attitude is pretentious. And nobody confronts you face to face. They're so passive-aggressive up there. They're so passive-aggressive up there. I don't get it. I'm a guy, I got a problem with you, I'm going to stand right in front of you. That's what I'll do. It don't bother me no bit. I think face-to-face, I ain't about all this passive-aggressive shit. You know? But up there, man, there's something in the water. You know? It just makes people kind of cowards.
The whole thing is getting increasingly cringe.
Comedian, he says the N-word around you for the first time.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a little trust that I'm in the circle.
Here we go.
of
Let's
cool
talk about this real quick, okay?
Uh-huh.
I'm not with that. You guys are doing in Austin.
What do you mean?
Well, let's be real. I don't like some of the words you guys use freely.
Like what?
It's like edgelord shit.
Did you see him get nervous? If you're watching this, rewind it back a couple seconds. He bites his lip and then he starts biting his fingernails. Like he's like, he asks what, and then he's like, oh shit. Oh no. Oh man, I thought I was coming on here and repping Rogan and I'd get some cred, and obviously I didn't do my research and rep Rogan in the wrong room. Uh-oh.
Like
not all of it.
I know, but it's becoming so hacky to me that 100%. You guys use these words just for the shock factor.
100%.
It's like I'm not into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that.
And to many fans,
you know what? Ari Matty, in his mind, is like, don't send me back to Estonia. No, Rogan, I suck your dick forever. You know, he's just trying not to get sent back to Estonia. I mean, he's like, these people are so stupid. They think I'm funny because I make big noise. Hey, I can't knock his hustle. I ain't trying to go back to Estonia either. Where you think I came from, huh? Huh? Estonia all day, baby.
They're missing the point of what made their heroes that they're trying to emulate so beloved in the first place. They're trying to cosplay what they think the comedy scene was like in the 90s and 2000s without the jokes. This isn't just people on the outside.
I was thinking about that video yesterday with the Estonian, with Jordan Peterson. You know, being Estonian, you don't have many options to succeed, especially as a man, where you can take care of the woman and believe in Jesus Christ at the same time. Oh, man, Jordan Peterson, I can't believe anybody fell for that dude. Hey, if you watch my TV, my YouTube channel, and you were Jordan Peterson, I already marked you. I know. I could just look at your profile and be like, Jordan Peterson, right? He had an influence. But anyways, it's pretty funny. Do you guys want to learn about manhood?
Looking in either. Some of those who attended the show there had nothing flattering to say. I went to Joe Rogan's Comedy Mothership this weekend, and it was the worst night of comedy I have ever experienced in my life. There were 7 performers. Every single one of them used the R word and the F slur multiple times. It wasn't a one-off I'm edgy joke. It was their entire act. A recurring theme throughout the night was reminding us that we didn't have our phones, so nothing could be recorded. The implication was clear. We might as well laugh and admit we agree with their belief that anyone who isn't a straight white man is inferior. At one point, a comedian literally said, "Make some noise if we hate trans people," and 2 or 3 people in the crowd actually cheered. This was not comedy. It was a
Are you serious? Oh man, I think they're just playing it up at this point. You can't, like, everybody has an opinion on certain kinds of choices people make in their life. But like, I don't know why these people even care, because they ain't going to be in the bedroom with that person that they're, it's like, let people do what they want to do. I can have opinions and I could think this is right and this is wrong, but at the end of the day, it's your own life. Here's the problem. When you try and get up in other people's stuff, right? We should make laws for like people, right? That apply to all people. Like all people get health care. All people should be able to have food, stuff like that. But as far as what people do, man, as long as it's not hurting anybody, I just don't really care. I don't have time to think about this shit, dude. I'm trying to survive out here, bro. I don't know why most shit people think about. I don't have time. I'm never going to see this stuff. And if you don't like something, you can't stop it, right? But you're just making those people dig into it more. You're not going to convert them. Try converting somebody that's religious. It's just like not going to happen. People have to come to whatever they come to in life. Just go somewhere else. Don't be around those types of people if you don't like them. It's not like you're going to stop them. I just don't know how people have time for any of this, man. I swear, I wake up, I drink some coffee, and then having to start doing my thing. And then next thing I'm eating dinner with my girlfriend, just hanging out, and then, oh, it's time to go to bed, and oh shit, it's all time to start over again. You know what I mean? It's just absolutely crazy why people care about other people so much and what they're doing. I don't know.
TED Talk for people who post "facts don't care about your feelings" memes and think that counts as a political worldview. It was the worst night of comedy I've witnessed. Overall, this perspective that they descended into a real hack territory has led to a critical reassessment of his crew, whether it was Brian Callen, Tony Hinchcliffe, or Brendan Schaub. In fact, Callen's recently released comedy special was a prime example, with basically everything he did falling flat. Whether he was trying to be profound,
maybe it's not a coincidence that this machine I can't turn myself away from. Maybe it's not a coincidence that this machine is also called the Apple.
Or peddling.
Bro, did you see that ending? I didn't see that ending until I did a video on it, like right when it came out, like hours, like I think like 4 or 5 hours after it came out. I saw it and I was all, oh, nobody's hit this yet, and I did the thing, right? And so I came back like 2 or 3 days later I came back 2 or 3 days later, bro, and I got curious about the comments. Like most of them were like, like tearing him down. But one person was like, the ending was so epic. And you can't just watch the ending, because I forget what he did. I think he talked about Adam and Eve and made a reference to an apple and it like controlling the world or some shit like that. And then his ending, he starts talking about social media and trying to get profound, and then he brings it back. He was trying to pull like a Dave Chappelle, and he's like, it's no coincidence this is called an apple. And I thought to myself, there were people in that comments that thought it was epic. I just want to know where these people come from. And were these people in car accidents? Were they on job sites where they're like, a pallet of plywood fell and nicked them in the head, and they got a real concussion and some brain injury, you know, where they raised like in a hole, you know, where they had no entertainment for 18 years, pitch darkness, and then they came out and like Brian Callen was an upgrade. You know, I just wondering, why are people Rogan's fear, kill Tony? I just don't know how lame you have to be to end up in that. I know. I'm just giving opinions again. I'm sorry. Sometimes they're too much. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. You know, January's coming up. I'll start writing the resolutions now. I got to stop making fun of Kill Tony fans. I can't help it, you know? You know, it's like when people used to bake their own like bread, and then the lady down the street would bake like banana bread. And you remember when they used to open their window and they would set it in the windowsill so it would cool, and you just couldn't help but just go take a little piece of that. Maybe y'all didn't do that, but I did. I would always take a piece of the bread, you know? And it's the same with Brian Callen. He's a nice smelling bread in the window.
The same talking points.
I walked into a coffee shop right here in Austin, right here, and behind the counter was a young person making espressos, and it looked like it was a man. I mean, I don't know how he identifies. I don't want to, but he had a beard. He had a beard, a pronounced beard, and he was also wearing a lovely summer dress. Lovely. But it had straps, a floral pattern. It stopped above the knee, and so I thought that I had all these thoughts. And then I had my old guy thoughts. I couldn't believe it. It looked like chaos to me. It looked scary. It triggered me. It did. I was like, this is cats and dogs living together. You can't just decide you're gonna wear a dress. What the? You know, it's like, how are we going to compete with China, you know?
Beforehand, Joe and Callen thought this special, filmed at the Comedy Mothership, was going to be a big win for the crew amid a tide of bad publicity.
When your special kicks it and you start selling out giant theaters.
Dude, let's go, baby.
Let's get a little in your life.
But in the space of 2 weeks, it hasn't even gained 200,000 views. With the Rogan machine behind it, those numbers should have been vastly better. But
they said the same. Yeah, I saw that recently with Brian. I was like, damn. They said the same. If you watch Legion of Skanks, and they were like, go, Louis J. Gomez, everybody go watch it. And he'll get 2 million views in 2 days, and blah, blah. And it was so bad, nobody watched it. And last time I checked, it was like at 120, 130, somewhere up there. And, I mean, that was a week or so ago. But I was just like, yeah, y'all getting the fucking message yet? It's shit. All you put out is absolute shit. And we're tired of it. Because, and here's the thing, yeah, you could be subjective in this, but these guys have flooded the comedy scene that nobody else is getting the recognition, and they're claiming all the recognition as like the best comedians in the world, and all the other people that are actually funny aren't getting a shot because they've just bullied their way in, and now they gatekeep shit because they can't actually get somebody funny in the Rogan sphere because it would expose all of them. So yeah, I'm a little bit, annoyed by it, okay? I want good comedy that makes me laugh. They put so many goddamn specials on Netflix. I know I don't have to watch them. I want to one day come across and find one, turn it on, and be like, man, that was a good way to spend some time. But it can't, because these guys have polluted comedy. And now, people are having to stand up and fight back to get that shit back.
It's clear that Rogan's once iron grip over comedy and king-making power is no more. Instead, Callen is left to spiral in full view of the public over how poorly it has been received, to the point that it's got him questioning his whole career and blaming it flipping on modern attention spans.
Because my feelings are hurt so bad. Like I put out this special and it doesn't matter, right? Like in a way, it doesn't matter.
Specials aren't special anymore.
They're not special. Nobody watches it. It's not going to make
that's what you need to understand. Like, it doesn't matter. And I'm towards the end of it. Like, that medium of like specials used to be special. Well, now they've just lost their significance. And I'm not saying your special's not important. It's important. But what I'm saying
to me
is,
it is, but it's not.
to me and you and like some of the older heads, it's important. But in this day and age, like to ask someone to sit down and watch an hour of stand-up it's just not the way the game works.
Because some of those
nobody wants to watch an hour of shit. Brian Callen, bro, you know why nobody watched an hour? Because literally in the first 2 minutes, he talks about 75 different things in one giant run-on sentence. Watch it. He's like, I was going down the road. Oh, there's a deer. And hey, did you know that my grandpa owns a deer farm up there? And we used to make, hey, do you want a knife? I have some lasagna in the fridge. Hey, could you get me some lemons? That's his special right there. And you don't even know. He ain't setting nothing up. He ain't getting to know you. He ain't making nothing comfortable. He is just blah, 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 blah. And it's bad. And none of it's funny. None of it's funny. And within like a couple minutes, he's already doing sexual stuff. And it's just like, why? Why? Your shit is garbage. I'm going to tag him in this video, hopefully. I mean, nobody else is watching him stuff, so nobody should be commenting. So that gives me probably like a 70% chance he's going to talk, because he's looking at a special, and I guarantee he's read all the comments. If I get in there today, he's probably still looking. I'm going to figure it out. Brian Callen's going to see it. And I hope he watches this video. Brian Callen, you are trash. Quit comedy. That idea you are having to quit comedy, it is correct. Please leave. We never want to see you again. Goodbye. Goodbye. And just give Joe Rogan. Oh, better stop.
Rogan Sphere comedians are now seeing the ill effects of being associated with the mothership. Some of them are beginning to subtly put some distance between themselves and the club regular. For one thing, Andrew Santino is aiming for conscious separation from the fold.
Partially, I think it's fucking clown fart bullshit.
But what's clown fart bullshit?
There's some of the heads down there.
Well, it's everywhere, though.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So I don't need to leave heads to go see more dads.
If you're going to live somewhere to partake in a scene and being near it is helpful, then you obviously got to go that clicks with you. And I love Austin for that.
But it's also because, like, Big Brother Joe is there, and when he left, Rogan was, like, trying to tell a lot of us to, like, be like, you gotta get out of LA. And this became a narrative.
Meanwhile, people like Shane Gillis and Matt McCusker are also cracking jokes at his expense.
When I see a dude with, like, genuine disabilities doing his thing on stage, because to me, it's like, I would give in. It would just be too much for me. I don't know that my spirit would be resilient enough to fucking practice the sacred art form that is stand-up comedy.
Dude, it's such a sacred art. And that's what the thing that's driving me during the Comedy Wars is how sacred the art is.
Yeah, dude.
The Comedy Wars will pass.
Yeah, well, they'll pass. It'll pass.
This is what I got to go to New York last week.
I'm going back to Philly for about 6 months, so
yeah.
I'm out. Fuck the Austin scene, dude.
Nah.
I'm back. East Coast till I die, bro. East Coast.
Hey, we don't want the Comedy Wars to die. We don't. And you know the best way to keep a war going? Get the government involved. So if there's a comedy government, could you get involved so you can exploit the Comedy Wars for resources, territory, and money, and make them last like 20 years? And we could call it, some kind of name that you can demonize and promote in your cause, and we're set. We're guaranteed a long time. We don't want the drama to stop. We only want it to get more epic. I think this is fascinating. It's hilarious, and I have a lot more making fun of these guys left, right? I'm not ready to give up. So comedy government, and then you could bring in the contractors, the comedy contractors, and then they can do all the dirty work and get paid tons of money, while our soldiers lose. Oh, sorry, different subject.
Well, we were watching nasty YouTube videos about the Comedy Wars. Yeah, and I was like, "What are we doing? Let's get something positive.
Grind the tape.
No, I had to stop.
Put on fucking Grind the Tape.
So much, dude. The fate of the universe hangs in the balance, bro.
Well, the Comedy Wars.
Yes,
dude. The Austin comedy scene's too powerful. LA and New York need to unite to destroy the Austin comedy scene.
How are they going to stop it?
Now, old enemies of his, such as Mark Maron, are talking openly about the damage that they believed he's done to the art form they love.
The thing with Joe is I don't know that we have a lot to talk about because of my idea of what he's done to comedy.
Sure.
And I don't think it's great. I think that it's tribalized, and I think that, he's created a sort of army of people that think they know comedy, but they only know a specific thing and what they think is good.
And in response, Joe is spiraling and putting it all down to envy as opposed to any valid criticism.
It's just like people are always trying to build themselves up by taking other people down. And it's historic. It's been going on forever. It's always the case. And it's normal. Like when you're young and you're coming up and you see people that are doing better than you, like, that guy. It's normal. But it's not beneficial. It's not good for you. And it's just like super unhealthy.
Well, we know people our age who are still doing that shit.
Of course.
Comics.
Mark Maron, don't say it.
I mean, I don't get it. I'm like, I don't know.
I get it. He's sad. He's sad. He wants other people to hurt.
But unfortunately for him, the public's view is far closer to that of people like Mark. And now people are jumping from a potentially sinking ship as fast as they can and finding that escaping it is actually beneficial for their life. At the moment, Joe is at a low ebb, the likes of which he hasn't experienced for years. But ultimately, he has no one to blame but himself. Because his podcast was once a place where he engaged his own brain to learn from others, he lost his way by blurring the lines between this new approach, where he's seeking to impact the world rather than delivering amusing, entertaining interviews.
It's like the way guys were having Trump on their podcast. I just thought that sucked. Even if you like the guy, right? Which I don't, that sucks.
Yeah.
You're not smart enough to have, like a real journalist should be interviewing him. You're doing it because it's clicks, right? Because it's like, and because some comedians have deluded themselves into thinking we're important. Once you think you're important, you're not. It's pull the handbrake. You're not funny anymore.
Yeah.
Now, he's catching flack for spreading what some people see as blatant misinformation about measles, with some takes that literally make no sense.
Measles included, speaking of the current thing
which
that's
is
a controversy.
an infection that everyone got when I was a kid. And what happened was you'd get sick for a few days and then you'd be immune for life.
Yep.
And they were making it look like everyone's dying from measles. Like, no, if you're dying from measles, you're sick. You're already compromised, which is exactly what happened with COVID, where 90% of the people who died had 4+ comorbidities. Jesus Christ.
Which is why it was such a red pill.
Joe Rogan, man, I gotta give him credit and admire his talent for somehow bringing everything back to COVID. Somehow he does it. He talks about eating a Reese's peanut butter cup one day, and by the end of the story, he's hitting you with COVID stats and how they all lied. This is Joe Rogan's brain. There's two things Joe Rogan's brain revolves around and everything comes back to: fear factor, COVID. That's the truth.
For me, because I was like literally an ultra marathon runner that was going to the gym like 3 hours a day. Like, I need natural immunity. I already have natural immunity. Go yourselves.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
That was chickenpox. Measles can and is a killer. You are so dumb. The end result is that he's ultimately no longer at the top of the mountain, being beaten in downloads by shows like Midas Touch by over 698,000 downloads these days. Likewise, recent episodes received only 3.1 million downloads and streams, with a dip of 41% being reported across the board. Given how big his audience is across the world of comedy and podcasting, it'd be premature to say that it's over for Rogan. However, with how things are going, he needs to take some action and switch up his trajectory, or those days where he was the king of all media will be brought to a permanent end.
Dang. It's crazy. It looks like Joe Rogan is slowly dwindling down. And the people that are left, like I said, call out to a friend and tell them, hey, you like Joe Rogan? If they say yes, say, brother, you need to get some help. Get your noggin checked out, okay? There's something wrong with you. And you could say that in confidence to them. And they might be mad, but one day they'll come back and be like, when you told me I need to get my head checked out, they said I was stupid. And it was that moment that I stopped listening to Joe Rogan. Trust me, I've done it 10 times already. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. Joe Rogan, the satisfying downfall we all love to watch.
like to thank you. Don't stay.